Hello, my name is Benjamin, and we are conducting the health history interview, and I'm here with my father. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Mark. I'm Ben's dad, and it's a pleasure to participate in this interview this evening.
We're here in our kitchen. It is June 14th, and it's about 8 o'clock. First question is, where and what year were you born?
I was born in Mineola, New York. That's on Long Island, and I was born in 1951.
And what is the most influential memory about the time period you grew up in?
I believe the memory that comes to mind is the advent of the Kennedy administration. It was a very dramatic time in our history, and I recall that the Kennedy administration was very good about advocating physical fitness, particularly among students. And there were all kinds of programs that came about as a result of that.
Do you remember being in any of those programs?
Yeah, there was regularly they the schools would initiate standards that you had to meet within your phys ed classes, and these standards were proposed by the federal government to try to keep it uniform throughout the country.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's similar to what we had to do also in elementary school, and I guess that's where it started. Um, what kinds of health care did you receive as a young child?
When I was a child, the advent of the polio vaccine was just becoming prevalent. And of course, this was something that was a major health accomplishment because for the longest time, polio had plagued our country, particularly among the youth. So the polio vaccine was something that was a predominant health benefit during that period.
Mm-hmm. Um, was there any health education going on or promotion of health that you received during your school years? Say middle school through high school, do you recall?
Yeah, very much so. We were taught about nutrition, or at least what was considered good nutrition at that time. Um, the the pyramid approach to eating and what types of foods and in what proportions were something that was certainly emphasized. And there were all, as I had mentioned before, there were all kinds of phys ed classes, and there was a big push for good health when I was a young kid throughout the school districts.
And that still sticks out in your mind. Interesting that they had those programs. That's great.
Yeah, most definitely.
Speaking and continuing about school, was there a school nurse available at all times?
Yeah,
During school
yeah.
hours when you were
Every
a child?
school had a school nurse and a nurse's office, and uh, occasionally the nurse would um, present different types of approaches to better health. We'd have assemblies where the nurse would speak, um, and of course the nurse was there in case anybody did become ill during the day.
Hmm. And do you remember what the nurse's office was like? Was it totally different from what regular nurse's office is now? Or very
No, I
similar?
don't think there's been much change in that. Um, there was a place where you could lie down, um, and the nurse would just do a basic evaluation of what your condition was, perhaps take your temperature, um, provide you with a little comfort, whether it was um, possibly something to drink to soothe a cough, but there really it was really more of an opportunity for them to keep an eye on you until your parents were available to pick you up.
Okay. Were seatbelts required in vehicles when you were a child as well?
No, most definitely not. In fact, a lot of cars did not even come equipped with seatbelts. Um, Certainly not in the 50s. It became more prevalent in the early 60s, and I believe most states adapted laws somewhere in the later 60s,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps early 70s.
Did you wish they had seatbelts when you were a kid?
It, to be honest with you, um, we never assumed that. I think as a kid, with these large cars they had back then, we always assumed that we were protected within the car. Of course, that wasn't true.
Mm.
But in retrospect, yes, it would have saved a lot of lives.
Was tobacco recognized as a health hazard when you were a young child?
Mm, it was probably recognized as a health hazard, but not officially, certainly not by the government, and it was very prevalent, and was something that was almost part of the social fabric. It didn't matter where you were, people were smoking,
Mm-hmm.
whether it was in their homes, offices, restaurants, any kind of public space. Cigarette smoking was very prevalent.
Mm. And having experienced that compared to what it is like now, tobacco being so fought against, what is your take on the difference?
Oh, the difference is dramatic. It's been proven that cigarette smoking contributes to all kinds of illnesses, and I'm certain the statistics would show that we're a healthier society without smoking. So I'm very pleased that it's been curtailed.
Was obesity a huge concern during your adolescence? And if not, what was a major health concern in general?
Yeah, obesity was certainly a concern. I mean, it remains a concern to this day. Even though we've become much more aware of how obesity can affect your health, it's still very much a concern, and it was very prevalent back then. Even though there was an attempt, um, to have the public become more and more healthy. Very difficult kind of change to make.
Let's see, what did you have access to in terms of basic sanitary needs, such as toilets, baths, showers, sinks, and clean water?
Yeah, living in a rather affluent suburb in the 50s and 60s, there was certainly all the availability of good plumbing and sanitation and everything that you would think you would need to stay reasonably healthy.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Did you ever suffer from any illnesses as a young child?
Other than measles and mumps, two diseases that They did not have um, shots for back then. Other than that, I was very lucky and did not have any kind of serious health problems.
And did you know anyone who did have any of those?
You know, as I think back, yeah, I mean, I knew people who, a couple people who suffered from blindness, a few people who had some mental disorders. But I'd say by and large, most of the people that I encountered in my youth seemed to be relatively healthy for that time period.
That's good. Let's see. In regards to today's society, how do you think health education and promotion has advanced since you were a child?
Oh, dramatically. You know, medical science has has really exploded over the years, and we know, excuse me, so much more about the proper treatment and precautions that you can take to make for a healthier life. The availability of good medicine throughout the country is much greater than it used to be. So, yeah, I'd say we've made dramatic strides.
I agree. And today, what is a major health concern that you still have?
Well, of course, we haven't cured cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a lot of reasons for that. You would think with all the effort that's taken place in my lifetime that we would have a cure by now. You got to think that the pharmaceutical companies, the medical profession at large, has made so much money in servicing cancer treatments that it would be hard for them to give it up if tomorrow somebody came along with the perfect pill. You just take once and cancer is eradicated from your body.
Mm-hmm.
So I would hope that society would be able to find a way to cure cancer within my lifetime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I know for me, personally, alongside with cancer, I would just say healthcare for the less privileged as well. Something that personally, what I think of, what comes to mind for those who can't always afford.
Yes, indeed, true.
Well, thank you so much for giving us over almost just about 70 years worth of overview in a summary type of reflection. And any last thoughts or any advice for anyone looking to get healthy and keep up with being fit and physical?
I would say primarily you want to have a good diet, try to keep your weight down, try to get as much exercise as possible, and regular visits to the doctor to at least monitor your status and try to be able to catch something before it becomes a much more difficult kind of health condition to cure. That would be about it.
That's great. Thank you, and thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
I
Thank
really
you.
appreciated that. This has been my health history interview with my father, Mark. Thank you.